So I've arrived in Kutná Hora, Czech Republic, and we're on our way to see the Sedlec Ossuary, also known as the Bone Church. We're on a giant brontosaurus. There's a brontosaurus head, and we're going down this slide. Here we go. I've been walking down this road and I have yet to see any signs pointing me in the direction of the Bone Church, or at least letting me know I'm going in the right direction. But I did happen to have a look at a map inside the train station that laid out the town of Kutná Hora, and the church does seem to be a bit of a hike from here. So I'm kind of guessing at this point, purely going by feel. But I'm not really seeing anyone, even though logic would dictate that there'd be other people going this way as well. So I might be wrong. We'll see. I do, however, see a few familiar faces over there. Sheepish faces. I was starting to get a little bit worried there, but after about 10 minutes of walking, I'm starting to see a bit of life in this town. And, more importantly, some people. They look just as lost as I do. And I don't think any of us are any closer to where we need to be. The Planet Music Club, Kutná Hora. I bet all the cool kids in Kutná Hora come out here on a Saturday night when they're looking to cut some rug and let loose. A cigarette factory hidden from prying eyes in the middle of Czech Republic. Very sneaky, Philip. Very sneaky indeed. Well, there she is. The infamous Bone Church. But I seem to be caught between a rock and a hard place. So I gotta figure out a way to get there from here. So apparently they don't sell tickets at the actual Bone Church, so I've been sent on a mission to find an info center somewhere in town and find a ticket, which there are no signs anywhere. No one seems to want to help me, but I'll figure it out. After a bit of walking and confusion on my part, I finally found the ticket office, and entry to the Ossuary cost me a total of 100 Czech crowns, which is about $5. Not a bad deal to see a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I gotta say, this isn't the most comforting welcome mat I've ever seen. I do, however, love the little skulls and crossbones adorning the spires of the church. That's pretty cool. The history of this place actually goes back to the year 1278, but it really got its start in the 1400s during the Black Death. And people all over Central Europe wanted to be buried here, and the cemetery had to be expanded. In the 15th century, a Gothic church was built in the center of the cemetery, and its basement was used as a storage for bones, also known as an ossuary. So now you know that. The bones stayed there for centuries until 1870, when a wood carver named František Rint was appointed to place the bones in order. And actually, one of Rint's furnishings closely associated with the Sedlec Ossuary was put up for auction in 2017. And I have to say, 50,000 euros is a small price to pay for such an exceptional conversation piece. The entrance to this church is pretty epic and doesn't really waste any time in letting you know what exactly it's got in store for you. Bones, skulls, more skulls, bones, and more bones. It's never ending. This signature here is made completely of bone, fittingly, and it's of František Rint, a name I mentioned previously. He is the man responsible for the macabre artwork within this church, and it's placed as soon as you walk into Sedlec Ossuary. Nice work, František. This is the piece de resistance of the entire church, the bone chandelier. It contains at least one of every bone in the human body and hangs from the center of the nave with garlands of skulls draping the vault. I mean, who hasn't always had dreams of owning a chandelier with garlands of skulls? Garlands. This is the coat of arms of the House of Schwarzenberg, and it's an insanely elaborate piece of work. And the shoulder blades at the top of the shield are really where it's at. A really nice touch. It's also really neat the way they've made the bird nibbling on the human skull completely out of human hand bones. Look at him. He's just adorable. And it goes without saying, but this archway is to die for. The skulls really seem to tie the whole room together in a way that you wouldn't expect. I don't know about you, but I feel like blood is the only thing you could really drink out of this giant bone goblet. I mean, if blood is your thing. Out of everything in this church, for some reason, this piece in particular really creeps me out. The Sedlec Ossuary is estimated to contain the skeletons of between 40 and 70,000 people, which is an almost unfathomable amount of bones considering that this church is quite small. This is one of two storage, I'll call them mounds, and it's just a taste of what's here, but gives you a better sense of the amount of bones that have been stored here for hundreds of years. And it's quite unsettling, to say the least. Earlier, when I was wandering around looking for tickets to the Sedlec Ossuary, I came across this grand, beautiful, and very abandoned building. And it seems like there are other buildings behind it that make up a much larger complex. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any information about these buildings, what they were, and why they are abandoned now. Which seems odd because it's sitting pretty much in the middle of a major intersection. But I gotta get inside. I gotta have a look-see and see what I can find through my own investigative ways. This right here is one of the many reasons why I love being in Europe, and it gets me very excited when I come across complexes like this that were abandoned after World War II. This is it, and this is massive. I mean, this is about, if I were to put it into American terms, this is probably about 15 to 20 football fields worth of land. It's quite amazing, and it's the middle of the day, and I'm alone. And I will admit that this is very creepy. There's something a little bit off about being here. In the past, when I've visited World War II sites, be it internment camps, death camps, or battlefields, there is a definite, palpable, heavy energy that is present. This is not that. This is something else. But it is definitely unsettling, and I feel a bit creeped out. This is probably why no one's come back to reclaim this place, why it's been abandoned for 75 years. Whatever the case is, I'm gonna get out of here. And what better way of celebrating a visit to the Bone Church than stopping by your local pub and having a nice pivo. Like all things in the Czech Republic, you can always expect a little bit of class in a local pub.